These powerful yet gentle giants of the forest, gorillas are among the most amazing and closest primates to humans, embodying the majestic beauty of Africa's wilds. Gorillas are the largest primates known for their impressive strength and intelligence. They belong to the hominid family, which also includes orangutans, chimpanzees, bonobos, and humans. Their DNA is 98% identical to humans, highlighting our close relationship. Gorillas are primarily herbivores, feeding on leaves, stems, fruits, and the occasional insect. There are two main species of gorilla, each of which is further subdivided into subspecies. Eastern gorillas, mountain gorilla. This subspecies is critically endangered and lives in the mountain forests that border Rwanda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Their population has been significantly reduced by poaching, habitat loss, and disease. Mountain gorillas are known for their thick fur, which helps them survive in the cold mountain environments. Eastern lowland gorilla, or Grauer's gorilla. This subspecies is the largest of all gorillas and lives in the lowland rainforests of the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. They are also endangered due to conflict, mining, and poaching. Western gorillas, western lowland gorilla. This is the most widespread subspecies of gorilla, found in the lowland rainforests of Cameroon, the Central African Republic, Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Angola, and Nigeria. Although their numbers are higher than other subspecies, they are also classified as critically endangered due to Ebola epidemics and poaching. Western river gorilla. This subspecies is the least studied and the smallest, found in a small region on the border of Nigeria and Cameroon. Their population is extremely small and they are critically endangered. All gorilla species live exclusively in the tropical and subtropical forests of Central and West Africa. Their habitats are heavily fragmented due to human activity. Gorillas live in groups called silverbacks because the dominant male has a distinctive gray stripe on his back. These groups usually consist of one dominant male, several females, and their offspring. Gorillas are known for their complex social behavior, including a variety of vocalizations and gestures. They build nests to sleep in trees or on the ground, usually moving every day to find new food sources and avoid parasite buildup. Gorillas have a lifespan of about 35 to 40 years in the wild, and can live to be 50 years or older in captivity. The main threats to gorillas include habitat loss due to deforestation, agriculture and mining, poaching for meat and body parts, and diseases such as Ebola, which have devastated entire populations. Conservation efforts include the establishment of protected areas, anti-poaching measures, and captive breeding programs. Conservation of gorillas is critical not only for the survival of the species, but also for maintaining the biodiversity of African forests, which play an important role in the global ecosystem. Gorillas are undoubtedly majestic primates that are often underestimated due to common misconceptions, but in fact these powerful creatures have a surprisingly peaceful nature and complex social structure. The true image of a gorilla is far from the aggressive monster depicted in movies. It is rather a gentle and shy animal that prefers to avoid conflict. Despite their enormous size and impressive strength, gorillas rarely show aggression, and their defensive behavior is a last resort when they feel threatened or their group is threatened. In the wild, they lead a predominantly calm lifestyle, devoting themselves to foraging, resting, and careful social interaction. Groups of gorillas, led by a dominant male known as a silverback, function on the principles of cooperation and mutual support. The silverback's role is to protect its family, and it typically uses displays of strength, loud cries, chest blows, and rapid lunges to scare off potential intruders rather than engage in direct physical combat. Only in the most extreme cases, when there is no other option, will it engage in brief skirmishes, always aiming to drive away rather than harm an opponent. Intragroup aggression among gorillas is also extremely rare. Conflicts are resolved through nonverbal cues, postures, and displays of submission rather than through violent fights. These animals show remarkable tolerance and empathy for one another, especially towards their young, often playing together, grooming, and sharing food. Apparent aggression by gorillas towards humans is most often the result of their natural shyness and instinctive reaction to invasion of their personal space, rather than an expression of innate hostility. Tourists and researchers who keep a safe distance and are respectful rarely encounter aggressive behavior. Moreover, gorillas are herbivores, feeding on leaves, stems, fruits, and bark, further highlighting their peaceful nature. Thanks to the work of pioneers like Dian Fossey, who dedicated her life to observing gorillas, the world has learned the true nature of these creatures. They are intelligent, deeply social, and deserve our understanding and protection. Conserving gorillas is critical not only for their survival, but also for maintaining the biodiversity of African forests, which play a vital role in the global ecosystem. Despite their majestic size and surprisingly gentle nature, gorillas play one of the most important roles in maintaining the health and biodiversity of African forests, being true architects of their habitat. Native to the tropical and subtropical forests of Central and West Africa, these powerful yet peaceful primates act as indispensable ecosystem engineers whose activities have far-reaching consequences for all forest flora and fauna. Their importance goes far beyond their mere presence. Gorillas actively shape the landscape, influence the distribution of plants, and help maintain the genetic diversity of forest ecosystems. One of the most significant functions of gorillas is their role in seed dispersal. As predominantly herbivores, gorillas consume vast quantities of plant matter daily, including fruits, leaves, stems, and bark. Many of these plants produce seeds, which pass through the gorilla's digestive system undigested. These seeds are then excreted in their droppings throughout the forest. This process has several important benefits. Firstly, it ensures that seeds are dispersed further from the parent plant, which reduces competition for resources and facilitates colonization of new territories. Secondly, passage through the gorilla's digestive tract may aid in seed germination, as stomach acids break down the hard shell, preparing the seeds for growth. The droppings containing the seeds also act as a natural fertilizer, providing the young plants with essential nutrients. In this way, gorillas act as gardeners of the forest, promoting its renewal and expansion. Gorillas also influence the structure of the vegetation through their foraging activity. By consuming certain plant species, they can control the growth of some species and promote the development of others. For example, if gorillas intensively feed on the foliage of fast-growing plants, this may allow slow-growing species, such as tree seedlings, to obtain more light and resources, thereby influencing the species composition of the understory. Their movements through the forest also create passages and areas of disturbed vegetation, which can open up new niches for the growth of different plants and animals, thereby increasing the mosaic and diversity of the habitat. This is especially important for forests, which are constantly in a dynamic equilibrium. An important, but often overlooked, role of gorillas is their contribution to nutrient cycling. As large consumers of biomass, gorillas recycle vast amounts of plant material. Their droppings and uneaten food recycle organic matter and minerals back into the soil, helping to enrich it. This nutrient recycling process is essential for maintaining the fertility of forest soils, which are often poor in the elements needed for plant growth. Without large herbivores like gorillas, many nutrients would remain locked up in living biomass, slowing down the cycle and affecting the overall productivity of the ecosystem. The presence of gorillas is also an indicator of forest health. Because they require vast tracts of intact forest to survive, their populations often serve as a barometer for the health of the forest ecosystem as a whole. Declining gorilla numbers or fragmenting their habitat often signals serious environmental problems such as deforestation, land degradation, or poaching that threaten not only the gorillas but also the thousands of other species that depend on the same forest. Gorillas are therefore not just forest dwellers, but integral parts of the forest and active participants in its functioning. Their disappearance would have catastrophic consequences for African forests, upsetting the delicate balance of ecosystems, reducing seed dispersal, altering vegetation structure, and slowing nutrient cycling. Protecting gorillas and preserving their natural habitat is not just an act of mercy, but a vital investment in the future health and sustainability of one of our planet's most valuable ecosystems. Understanding this profound relationship between gorillas and the forest is key to successful conservation efforts. Beneath an appearance that inspires both awe and respect lies one of the most astonishing examples of evolutionary might. Gorillas possess truly astonishing physical attributes, combining immense strength with the endurance and adaptability to survive in the harsh conditions of the African forests. These majestic primates, the largest of all living apes, display an impressive size and musculature that serves not only for dominance, but also for survival in their natural habitat. Despite their imposing appearance, every physical feature of the gorilla is perfectly adapted to their way of life, whether it is navigating difficult terrain or feeding on tough vegetation. Gorillas vary greatly in size depending on the species and subspecies, as well as gender. Males, especially silverbacks, the dominant males that reach sexual maturity and develop the characteristic graying hair on their backs, are significantly larger than females. Thus, an adult male eastern gorilla, including mountain and eastern lowland gorillas, can reach a height of up to 1.7 meters, 5.9 feet, in an erect position and weigh between 140 and 200 kilograms, 310 and 440 pounds, sometimes over 250 kilograms, 550 pounds, in captivity. Females are usually smaller, weighing between 70 and 110 kilograms, 150 and 240 pounds. Western gorillas are generally slightly smaller than eastern gorillas, with the average male standing about 1.5 to 1.6 meters, 5.9 to 5.9 feet, tall and weighing between 135 and 180 kilograms, 300 to 400 pounds. Despite their differences, all gorillas have extremely muscular builds, especially in the upper body. Their broad shoulders, powerful arms, and strong chests give them tremendous strength. Gorilla strength is often the stuff of legend, and for good reason. Accurate measurements of strength in the wild are difficult, but scientists estimate that a gorilla can be 4 to 9 times stronger than a human. This incredible strength is useful not only for defense, but also for everyday life. Gorillas are able to break thick tree branches to build nests, or easily clear a path through dense vegetation. Their jaws and teeth also have tremendous strength, allowing them to chew tough and fibrous vegetation, such as bamboo or tree bark, which make up a large part of their diet. Large molars and powerful chewing muscles allow them to effectively grind even the toughest plant materials. Another noticeable feature of the gorilla's physique is their elongated arms, which are longer than their legs. This anatomical structure is typical of primates using four-limbed locomotion, quadrupedal locomotion, with support on the knuckles of the hands, knuckle walking. This gait allows gorillas to move efficiently on the ground, as well as climb trees, although adult males often remain on the ground due to their weight. Gorillas' hands are also equipped with strong, prehensile fingers, making them excellent tree climbers, especially when young. The thumb is opposable, allowing for a high degree of dexterity and precision in manipulating objects, such as extracting insects from bark or preparing plants for food. Dense, thick fur covers almost the entire body of gorillas, with the exception of the face, palms, and feet. This fur serves several functions. It provides thermal insulation, protecting gorillas from the cold in high-altitude areas or during cold nights. It also serves as protection from rain and minor scratches. Mountain gorillas have particularly long and dense fur, which helps them survive in colder conditions. The fur ranges in color from black to grayish-brown, with silverback males developing a distinctive silver-gray stripe down their back, which is a sign of maturity and dominance. The skull of gorillas is also impressive, with massive brow ridges and a sagittal crest, a bony protrusion on the crown of the head, in males that serves as an attachment point for powerful chewing muscles. These features of the skull highlight their adaptation to consuming large amounts of tough plant matter. Gorillas' eyes are positioned forward, providing the binocular vision needed to judge distances in forest environments. Together, these physical features make gorillas uniquely adapted to life in their complex and demanding environment. Their strength, size, and specialized anatomical features are the result of millions of years of evolution, allowing them to thrive and play an important role in the African forest ecosystem. Understanding these physical aspects helps us to better appreciate their greatness and highlights the need for their conservation. It's amazing but true, beneath the superficial differences and lifestyles that separate us from the wild inhabitants of the African forests, there is a deep and fundamental genetic relationship between gorillas and humans, making them some of our closest cousins on the evolutionary tree. This is not a simple resemblance, but a stunning genetic closeness that opens up exciting prospects for understanding our own origins, evolution, and shared heritage with other primates. Studying gorilla genetics not only confirms our close relationship, but also helps to uncover the unique adaptations that have allowed these majestic creatures to thrive in their environment. One of the most frequently cited facts confirming the genetic closeness of gorillas to humans is the high percentage of their DNA identity with ours. Various studies have shown that the gorilla genome is approximately 98% identical to that of humans. This means that the vast majority of our genes and their sequences are virtually identical. By comparison, chimpanzees and bonobos are even closer to us, with 98.6 to 98.8% of their DNA identical. Such high similarity indicates a relatively recent common ancestor that lived millions of years ago. The last common ancestor of humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas is thought to have been a primate that lived approximately 8 to 10 million years ago. The gorilla lineages subsequently split from the branch leading to chimpanzees and humans approximately 7 to 8 million years ago, and then the chimpanzee-human divergence occurred. This genetic similarity is evident not only at the nucleotide sequence level, but also in the structure of chromosomes. Although humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes and gorillas have 24 pairs, like other great apes, the differences lie primarily in the fusion of 2 pairs of ancestral chromosomes into one in humans, as well as some rearrangements. However, the overall organization and set of genes on these chromosomes remain very similar. Studying these differences and similarities helps scientists understand the genetic changes that led to the development of unique human traits, such as upright walking, large brains, and complex speech. In addition to shared genes, researchers are also studying differences in gene expression, or how genes are turned on and off, in different tissues and at different stages of development. These subtle differences in gene regulation may explain why gorillas and humans have such similar DNA, but differ so greatly phenotypically in appearance, behavior, and cognitive abilities. For example, genes related to brain development, the immune system and metabolism may have small but significant differences in how they function between species. Genetic research on gorillas also plays a key role in their conservation. DNA analysis helps determine genetic diversity within and between populations, which is critical for developing effective conservation strategies. For example, genetic information can reveal the degree of inbreeding in small populations, indicating their vulnerability. It can also help track the movements of individuals and groups and identify sources of illegal wildlife trade, as DNA from a sample can be matched to its geographic origin. In addition, studying gorilla genetics helps us understand the genetic basis of their resistance to, or vulnerability to, certain diseases. This is especially true in the context of diseases such as the Ebola virus, which is devastating gorilla and other primate populations. Understanding the genetic factors that influence gorilla immunity may help us develop methods of protection and treatment. Overall, the genetic closeness between gorillas and humans is a powerful reminder of our shared evolutionary past and the profound interconnectedness of all life on Earth. It highlights not only the scientific value of studying gorillas, but also our moral responsibility to conserve them. These majestic primates are more than just exotic animals, they are living testaments to our shared history and an integral part of the biodiversity of the planet we share. By protecting gorillas, we protect a part of ourselves and our common heritage. In the dense, mysterious forests of Africa, where every rustle matters, the silverback male is not just the largest and most powerful member of a gorilla group, but its undisputed leader, protector, and vibrant center of social life without which the clan would not exist. His presence determines the stability, safety, and survival of the entire family, and he himself is the embodiment of the experience, wisdom, and strength accumulated over years of life in the wild. Named for the distinctive silver-gray stripe of fur that appears on his back as he ages, this majestic primate plays a multifaceted and critical role in group dynamics. The silverback's primary and most obvious function is to protect the group. Gorillas, despite their peaceful nature, can face threats from predators. Although adult males have few natural enemies, young individuals can be vulnerable to leopards, from other gorilla groups, or, more commonly, from humans, poachers. When threatened, the silverback male takes the lead, using his impressive size and strength to frighten off aggressors. His displays of strength, loud cries, clapping his hands, hitting his chest, dashing forward, and tearing up vegetation, are designed to intimidate his opponent and avoid direct physical confrontation. Only in extreme cases, when the threat persists, will he engage in combat, always trying to drive away rather than kill. This role as a protector ensures peace and security for all members of the group, allowing them to feed and rest in peace. In addition to protection, the silverback male is the decisive link in choosing the route and feeding sites. He makes daily decisions about where the group will go in search of food. These decisions are based on his extensive knowledge of the territory, the location of seasonal food and water sources. He leads the group to the richest resource areas, ensuring that everyone has enough food. This experience accumulates over the years, making older silverbacks especially valuable to the survival of the group, especially during periods of drought or food shortage. He also determines the sites for building night nests, choosing safe and comfortable areas. The silverback male also plays a key role in maintaining order and resolving internal conflicts within the group. Although gorillas are generally peaceful, minor skirmishes and misunderstandings may arise between females or young. The leader intervenes to diffuse tensions, often simply by his presence or a stern look. His authority is unquestioned, and group members abide by his decisions, which contributes to overall stability and harmony. He ensures a fair distribution of resources and maintains social bonds between group members. In addition, the silverback male is the only reproductive male in the group, although sometimes younger males may mate with females when the dominant male is distracted. He ensures the continuation of the species and the transmission of his genes to the next generation. His successful reproduction helps maintain a healthy and genetically diverse population. Females in the group tend to show a preference for strong and experienced silverback males when choosing them as mates. The social structure of a gorilla group is very closely tied to the silverback. He is not just the leader, but the center of attraction for all members. Youngsters often play near him, and females seek his protection and closeness. His calm and confident demeanor is transmitted to the entire group, creating an atmosphere of safety. If the silverback dies or disappears, the group may disintegrate, and females with young may join other groups or become vulnerable to predators and other males. Young males may compete for his place, but the process of establishing a new leader can be destructive to the group. Thus, the role of the silverback male goes beyond simple dominance. He is the pillar and cornerstone of the gorilla social structure, ensuring their survival, safety, and prosperity in the complex and constantly changing environment of the African forests. His physical strength, experience, and wisdom make him a true protector and leader, without whom gorillas might not be able to survive in the wild. Understanding this central role emphasizes the importance of preserving each such male for the future of the species. Beyond the stereotype of silent giants, gorillas have a surprisingly rich and complex world of communication, expressing their emotions, intentions, and social signals through an intricate palette of sounds, gestures, and postures, allowing them to maintain close bonds within the group and interact effectively with their environment. Their communication system, although devoid of human speech, is striking in its efficiency and variety, opening a window into their inner world and helping us understand these majestic primates. Gorilla vocal communication includes a vast repertoire of vocalizations, each with a specific meaning. One of the most well-known sounds is the chest drumming, which, contrary to popular belief, is not always a sign of aggression. Rather, it is a display of strength and confidence, used to announce their presence, attract females, or warn off rivals. Young males and even females can also drum on their chests. This sound can be heard over a long distance and serves as an important element of territorial behavior and social interaction. Other common vocalizations include roar, a deep, low sound that may indicate alarm, irritation, or be part of a threat display. Often precedes display behavior. Screech, a high-pitched, shrill sound, usually made by juveniles or females when frightened, in pain, or in conflict. Grunts and grunts, short, staccato sounds often used in calm situations to maintain contact within a group, when feeding, or when moving. They may serve as an acknowledgement of presence, to express satisfaction, or mild displeasure. Deep growls, used to express displeasure, a warning, or to initiate conflict. Belch, burp laughter, a rather unusual sound, similar to a human burp or soft laughter. Often used in relaxed situations, when feeding, may indicate satisfaction or be a form of friendly communication between group members. Howl cry, a loud, drawn-out sound that can be a signal of extreme danger, a warning of a threat, or an expression of severe stress. Cry whine, usually made by young animals when separated from their mother, hungry, or in discomfort. In addition to sounds, gestures and postures play an equally important role in gorilla communication. These nonverbal signals can be very subtle or, on the contrary, very expressive. Direct gaze. In most cases, direct eye contact is considered threatening. Gorillas usually avoid looking each other directly in the eye, with the exception of dominant males, who may use it to assert their status. Averted gaze, a sign of submission or appeasement. Flared nostrils and frowning may indicate displeasure or aggression. Lowered head, a sign of submission. On all fours with lowered head, a classic submissive pose. Touching and grooming, these are important forms of social bonding and affection. Gorillas spend a lot of time grooming each other, which strengthens social bonds and reduces tension within the group. Cuddling and patting, these are used to comfort, reconcile, or show affection, especially between mothers and young, and between adults. Play. Young gorillas engage in a lot of play, which is an important way of learning social skills and strengthening bonds. Play includes chasing, pushing, wrestling, and simulating aggressive behavior without causing harm. Yawning can be a sign of stress or tension, not just fatigue. Kissing. Gorillas may touch their lips to each other as a form of greeting or showing affection. Gorillas also display facial expressions, although not as pronounced as those of chimpanzees or humans. They may display an open mouth when playing, tense lips when displeased, or a relaxed expression when resting. Gorilla communication is a complex system that allows them to effectively coordinate group activities, avoid conflict, express emotions, and maintain complex social hierarchies. Understanding these signals is vital for researchers and conservationists working with gorillas, as it allows them to interact with animals without causing stress or aggression. Studying their communication methods not only deepens our understanding of these amazing creatures, but also gives us new perspectives on the evolution of communication in primates, including ourselves. In the heart of the dense African jungle, where every day is a matter of survival, the behavior of gorillas in the wild reveals a fascinating world of complex social interactions, strict routines, and ingenious adaptations that allow these powerful primates to thrive in their natural environment. Despite their impressive size, gorillas lead a largely peaceful and structured lifestyle, governed by the cycles of the day and the needs of their group. Their daily routine, although it can vary according to the season and food availability, follows a predictable pattern that reflects their herbivorous nature and need for security. A gorilla's day begins at dawn, around 6 a.m., when the group awakens in their night nests. These nests, constructed of twigs and leaves, provide shelter for each individual, except for the smallest infants, who sleep with their mothers, and are usually located in trees or on the ground in dense vegetation. After waking up, gorillas immediately go out to search for food, which is their main activity in the morning hours. Morning feeding usually lasts 2 to 3 hours, as they need to consume huge amounts of plant matter to support their large bodies. The gorilla diet consists mainly of leaves, stems, shoots, bark and fruits, and sometimes insects such as ants and termites. Eastern gorillas, especially mountain gorillas, rely more on fibrous vegetation such as bamboo and nettles, while Western gorillas consume more fruit when available. Gorillas exhibit selective feeding, choosing the most nutritious parts of plants. Their wide, powerful jaws allow them to chew tough vegetation that other animals cannot effectively utilize. As they feed, they move slowly through the forest, leaving behind a distinctive trail of broken branches and gnawed plants. Around midday, when the sun reaches its peak, gorillas usually take a break to rest. This period can last for several hours, during which the gorillas sleep, nap, groom each other, and the young ones play actively. Grooming is an important social behavior that strengthens bonds within the group and reduces stress. Play, in turn, not only contributes to the physical development of young gorillas, but also helps them master social skills and learn to interact with their peers. The silverback male often watches the group during this time, resting but remaining vigilant. The afternoon, from about 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., is again devoted to feeding and slow movement. The group continues to search for food, gradually moving towards a new place for the night. It is during this time that various social interactions can be observed. Females may feed their young, young individuals may continue their play, and adult gorillas may communicate using various vocalizations and gestures. The silverback male constantly monitors the safety of the group, leading it along the safest routes. About an hour before sunset, around 5 to 6 p.m., gorillas begin preparing for the night. Each individual, except for very young infants, who sleep with their mother, builds a new nest for itself. Nests are usually constructed from branches and leaves that are broken and bent to form a comfortable and safe bed. Young gorillas learn this skill from their mothers. Nests can be built in trees or on the ground, depending on the availability of suitable plants and the preferences of the group. Mountain gorillas are more likely to build ground nests due to the abundance of dense vegetation, while western gorillas are more likely to use trees. Building a new nest each night helps to avoid parasites and maintain hygiene. Once the nests are complete, the gorillas settle down for the night. Night is a time for gorillas to sleep and rest, but their hearing and sense of smell remain alert. During the night, they may wake up briefly, especially if they hear any sounds or smell potential danger. The silverback male will often choose a nest site in the center of the group or on the outskirts, ready to protect his charges. In addition to this daily routine, gorillas have a number of other behavioral traits. They are highly social animals, living in stable groups that can range in size from a few to more than 30 individuals. The silverback male is the dominant leader, making key decisions and providing protection. Gorillas display a complex communication system that includes a variety of sounds, gestures, and facial expressions. Despite their strength, they generally avoid conflict and prefer to resolve disputes through displays rather than outright aggression. They also show a caring attitude toward their young, with females being very attached to their young, and the silverback male showing tolerance and even protective behavior toward the young in the group. In the complex and multifaceted world of the African jungle, where each species occupies its own niche, gorillas not only exist in isolation, but also actively interact with countless other forest dwellers, forming a complex web of relationships that maintains the fragile balance of the ecosystem. Their large size and predominantly herbivorous lifestyle determine the nature of these interactions, making them important elements of the food chain and biodiversity. Gorillas rarely show aggression towards other species, preferring peaceful coexistence and demonstrating amazing tolerance. First of all, it is important to note that adult gorillas, especially large silverback males, have virtually no natural predators. Their enormous strength, impressive appearance, and group cohesion effectively scare off most potential threats. Occasionally, young gorillas or cubs may fall prey to large predators such as leopards, but this happens extremely rarely. In such cases, the silverback male will immediately spring into action, violently fighting off the predator. Otherwise, interactions with predators are minimal, and gorillas generally ignore them unless they pose a direct threat. The most frequent and significant interactions of gorillas are with other herbivores. Because gorillas consume large amounts of plant matter, they may compete for resources with other large herbivores, such as forest elephants, especially African forest elephants, and buffalo. However, differences in diet and feeding habits often mitigate this competition. For example, elephants prefer overhead grasses and leaves, while gorillas often feed on understory plants. However, elephants create paths through the forest as they move, which may also be useful to gorillas, making it easier for them to move. Buffalo may also graze in the same areas, but their diets are also slightly different, allowing them to coexist. Birds and insects are also part of the gorilla habitat. Gorillas rarely prey on birds, but may accidentally eat insects that fall into their plant food, or deliberately seek out specific insects such as ants or termites, which may be a source of protein. Birds, in turn, may follow gorillas to feed on insects disturbed by gorilla movement, or use their droppings as a source of seeds. Interactions with other primates are also of interest. Gorillas coexist with chimpanzees and bonobos, depending on the range, as well as various species of monkeys and colobus monkeys. Although direct competition for food and territory is possible, it is often reduced by differences in diet and preferred forest layers. For example, gorillas are primarily terrestrial, while many monkey species prefer an arboreal lifestyle. Chimpanzees, being more omnivorous and aggressive, may pose greater competition for gorillas, but direct conflicts between them are rare. Neutral or even tolerant interactions are sometimes observed when gorillas and other apes feed in nearby trees. Some smaller apes may use gorillas as a shield from predators, knowing that the presence of a larger gorilla will deter danger. Soil organisms and microorganisms play an important role in the ecosystem mediated by gorillas. Gorilla droppings, rich in undigested seeds and organic matter, serve as food for various detritivorous insects, fungi, and bacteria. These organisms decompose the droppings, returning nutrients back to the soil, which contributes to its fertility and supports the growth of new vegetation. Thus, gorillas are important links in the nutrient cycle in the forest. Finally, the interaction of gorillas with humans should not be underestimated. Unfortunately, this interaction is often negative due to poaching, habitat loss, and human-transmitted diseases. However, in recent decades, ecotourism has developed, allowing people to interact with gorillas in their natural environment, thereby contributing to their conservation. In some cases, gorillas can become accustomed to human presence, displaying curiosity but remaining wary. Scientists and conservationists who study gorillas strive to minimize their impact on the animals by following strict rules and protocols. Gorillas are therefore more than isolated jungle giants. They are an integral part of a complex and interconnected ecosystem, where their every action, from movement to feeding, impacts the environment and other species. Their peaceful coexistence with most forest dwellers, their role in seed dispersal and nutrient cycling highlight their vital importance to the health and sustainability of the African jungle. Protecting gorillas is therefore protecting the entire unique and diverse ecosystem in which they live. Each of us, even sitting behind a computer screen thousands of miles away from the African forests, has real power and potential to contribute to saving gorillas, because protecting these majestic primates and their unique habitat begins with conscious actions and choices that we make every day. The problem of gorilla conservation seems huge and insurmountable, but it consists of many factors that can be influenced by joining forces and taking concrete, practical steps. Above all, raising awareness is a fundamental step. The more people know about the critical situation of gorillas and the threats they face, poaching, habitat loss, disease, conflict, the more likely it is that real action will be taken. Tell your friends, family, colleagues about gorillas. Share information on social media, read articles, watch documentaries. Support educational initiatives of conservation organizations that educate local people in Africa. Knowledge is power and it can inspire change. One of the most direct ways to help is to support conservation organizations. There are many non-profit foundations and organizations that work directly on the ground to protect gorillas and their habitat. Among them are such well-known ones as Gorilla Doctors, Dien Fossey Gorilla Fund International, WWF, World Wildlife Fund, African Wildlife Foundation and many others. You can make a donation, become a gorilla sponsor, buy souvenirs, the proceeds from the sale of which go to conservation. Even a small amount can make a difference. It can go to pay for the work of rangers, purchase equipment for patrolling, medical care for sick gorillas or support educational programs for local communities. Regular donations provide stable funding for vital projects. Ethical tourism is another powerful tool. If you have the opportunity and desire to visit gorilla habitats, choose tour operators that practice sustainable and responsible ecotourism. Such operators strictly adhere to the rules of interaction with gorillas, for example, maintaining a safe distance, limiting the time of visit, prohibiting feeding and noise, and a significant part of the tourism income is directed to funding conservation programs and supporting local communities. Tourism creates economic incentives for locals to protect gorillas, as they see a direct benefit from their presence. However, it is important to choose only trusted and certified operators to avoid harming the animals. Conscious consumption also plays a significant role. Many products we use on a daily basis can be linked to the destruction of gorilla habitats. For example, palm oil, used in a huge number of products, from cookies to cosmetics, is often produced on plantations created on the site of cut-down tropical forests. Choose products labeled palm oil-free or those containing certified sustainable palm oil, RSPO. Likewise, be careful about the origin of wood and paper products, choosing certified products, e.g. FSC, which guarantees responsible forest management. Avoid purchasing products containing tantalum, columbite tantalite or coltan, which is used in electronics, mobile phones, laptops. Coltan mining in the DR Congo has contributed to the destruction of gorilla habitats and the funding of armed conflicts. Support companies that use ethically sourced or recycled materials. Combating illegal wildlife trade is another front. Never buy wildlife products, especially those made from gorilla body parts, e.g. souvenirs made from bones, skins or meat. If you see ads or offers for such products, report them to the relevant authorities or conservation organizations. Illegal trade is one of the main threats to the survival of gorillas. Supporting sustainable development and education in African communities is also vital. Local communities living near gorillas are often poor and depend on forest resources for survival. Providing them with alternative sources of income, e.g. ecotourism, sustainable agriculture, and access to education can reduce their dependence on poaching and deforestation. Support projects that improve the lives of these communities and encourage their involvement in conservation. Finally, raising awareness of diseases that can be transmitted from humans to gorillas, and vice versa, and practicing good hygiene when visiting their habitats will help prevent the spread of infections. Gorillas are very susceptible to human diseases such as influenza and Ebola, which can be fatal to them.